Hello, everybody. Today I want to try to answer the question, should we debate extremists? There, thesis statement over. First, I want to look at both sides of the argument and try to better inform our perspectives, as centrists do. When we debate, we strengthen our own beliefs and opinions. This happens because we don't argue against extremist beliefs, because extremist positions are often considered fundamentally wrong from birth. For example, try to explain to an extremist why, say, women deserve equal rights. Having a debate can force you to make more concrete reasons for this, thereby strengthening your position and your opinions. Look at No BS trying to argue against incest, for example.
Even I have fucking stupid fans. You're the laughing stock of YouTube.
Okay, I'll use smaller words. Okay.
Blah, 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 blah. I'm Steven. I try to sound smart, but I'm not.
So right now I'm trying to establish an understanding that, or I'm trying, hold on, I'm sorry, let me think of another way to say this. I'm trying to make it so that you understand, okay, that the onus is on you. That means that it is your prerogative, or it is in your interest to tell me why an action is bad, okay? So
no.
Debating also gives you a chance to change other people's minds, not just the opposition. In fact, it's probably much harder to change their minds. Maybe they're too far gone, but that's a debate for another time. You can also change the viewers' minds and give them reasons not to believe things, so it would be harder to persuade them down the road. Many also believe that it's important not to silence these people, and some think it is immoral and a violation of free speech. However, many others point out that freedom of speech isn't the same as giving these people a megaphone. Another important thing to consider is the effect of echo chambers on radicalization. A lack of debate creates echo chambers on your side and the other side. This forms a false us versus them mentality and creates an echo chamber, which causes radicalization and can create a falsely dichotomous political atmosphere. This also somewhat has a historical precedent, like a majority of media was leftist before the recent US elections, and Trump still won, so not debating them doesn't necessarily work. However, many of these media groups invited Trump for interviews with us, so it's not a perfectly fair comparison. However, the problem is you can't debate these people properly often. Many of them aren't willing to debate fairly. Many of them use disingenuous tactics, and many of them aren't there in good faith. So how can you debate them if they won't? Often a chance to debate isn't just that for people. Many of them look at it as a chance to spread their ideology and recruit others. Rather than actually debating, it's more as an advertisement for them, a megaphone. So many times by debating these people, you could be furthering their agenda more than you are furthering yours, even if you beat them. This is especially true if you don't challenge their ideas, even the underlying ones. Then the debate just gives them a place to spread their rhetoric. This is even true for something which seems obviously wrong, because even if it's ridiculous, brushing it off gives it legitimacy, as many extremists will claim that you brushed it off since you couldn't counter their argument.
You know that that's not your real home.
Please don't tell me what I know.
Didn't build it.
Sorry? Listen, my ancestors built it tenfold and weren't paid for it.
Look, it's like saying that
really? You could have enslaved someone else.
It's like saying African Americans
Really?
built the United States. Like,
They did.
But
they literally built the White House.
because we made them do it.
And you're proud of that. You're proud of that.
Well, it's had bad consequences. But the fact is, yes, I am ultimately proud of it.
You're proud of slavery.
I'm ultimately proud of my ancestors because
You're proud of slavery?
I embrace
Your
all of
ancestors
it.
did that.
I embrace
Really?
all of
Good
it.
for you. To
We
reject anyone.
change history.
Oftentimes, debates don't go well with extremists. The reason? It's simple. Most of them aren't reasonable. They're extreme. A lot of these people exist in echo chambers and have a very twisted idea of the opposition. See those SJW Ret compilations and stuff, for example. Also, there's a really strong us versus them mentality or outgroup bias. As a result, many of these people don't treat the opposition well, and this leads to an unfair debate which doesn't really help much.
Whoa! Hey! Stop pushing! Stop pushing!
You're using a woman right now, asshole!
Nobody's a
These people also have a historical precedent, kind of. The point they try to make is that the Nazis weren't stopped by debates. However, I think that firstly, Nazi ideologies probably weren't considered as extreme in the early 1900s compared to today. And secondly, government-supported Nazism is very different from a fringe group of extremists. In my opinion, we should debate extremists, with a few provisions. You need to be very well prepared, because if you screw up, you might be leading tons of people into extremism. While extremist views might feel easier to debunk, that's actually heavily dependent on your opponent, so do your research. Also, while being charitable, you should hold them accountable to what they say and you should control the conversation. That's one of the problems with many moderates, they don't argue as passionately as extremists. Why? Probably because for many of the extremists to hold their beliefs, they need to be passionate about them, since otherwise they'd not go against the norm. Oh, and no, just because something is the norm doesn't make it wrong or anything. Always challenge anything that's wrong. Many extremists will say something assuming another thing. They might say something like, black people on average have a lower IQ. Assuming that IQ matters or is an adequate measure, or even that we should worry about averages if we're segregating a population. Challenge them. Don't let them sneak their ideas unopposed. Innuendo Studios actually made a good video about it, even though his is focused on the alt-right. I'll put in the I thing in the description. Call them out. If they try to do any sneaky shit, call them out. This sets a precedent with them, telling them that this stuff won't fly. It can also show others how disingenuous they're being, undermining their credibility. Finally, be merciless. This is a facet of being passionate. Don't give them ground or help their points. Don't give up when they concede their point for a lesser one. Fight for your point until it's clear that one of you are right or you've reached a third more right opinion. If you don't think they are even a little right, don't let the audience think that either. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to be going on vacation soon, but don't worry, I have a few videos scheduled, and hopefully I'll be able to talk about my trip when I get back. See ya.